and prettier than I would ever be. I was looking at myself. She would taunt me, telling my hips were too big, mocking me with that last corn dog that I knew I could eat, but only for a second. As I flushed the handle, all memories of her and that night's dinner washed away. Have you ever faced an unsurmountable challenge? Had inner demons so deep you didn't know what to do? Have you ever not known how to be in your own skin? I was 16 at that time. That tender age full of zits, hatred, and anger at society and at myself. You see, I never felt comfortable in my own skin. I didn't have the self-confidence in myself, my body, or my mind. There's a strange thing that happens with mothers. Mothers always seem to have this spidey sense when something is going wrong. And after dinner that night, my mom walked into my room, she sat down, and as she was tucking me into bed, she told me a story that I will never forget. She too had been hungry, and she too had been staring at an empty porcelain bowl, but for very different reasons. It was 1978, and she was a kindergarten teacher in the Vietnam War. Her village was facing a famine. All the food was diverted to troops. And every single day, she was given one bowl of rice as sustenance. Now, as a school teacher, every day she would go walking in and see legions of students. But during lunchtime, no one would ever have anything to eat. So she'd pick off one kernel for the student, one grain for that student, and her bowl would be empty by the end of lunch. She dreamt of a day when her stomach wasn't growling with hunger. She dreamt of a day when bullies were stealing lunch money to buy comics, and not lunch money to buy life. But she did not give up. One day later, the inevitable happened. The war finally ended, and my father, a lieutenant in the South Vietnamese Army, along with the largest city in South Vietnam, collapsed. My dad was taken as a prisoner of war, and my mom lost her job. Now imagine yourself in this situation. You have no job, you have no husband, and you have no livelihood. She could have waited for her husband to get out of jail. She could have waited at home for something else to happen. She could have waited for chance to take over. But she took destiny in her own hands, and she did not give up. She took the only job that was available, and she went home, and she started working in the rice paddy fields. Fellow Toastmasters, this is a hard job. Her hands, usually filled with chalk dust and maybe boogers, were now filled with soil, dirt, tears. Her fingernails, usually pink, turned yellow and finally brown. Her normal 5'2" stature slowly became hunched as she would carry 40 pounds of water, rice, and supplies up and down the streets every single day. But she did not give up. While she's waiting for my dad in prison, there was an empty barrel of rice, a huge barrel of rice, much larger than me. And she knew that her salvation would be filling that barrel of rice, that empty barrel, full of little dreams and hopes and little grains of rice, because that was money and that was opportunity in Vietnam. After working every day, she would save a small handful and throw it in the barrel. And she would write a letter to my dad. And she waited. Days turned to weeks. Weeks turned to months. Months turned into years. And after 2,007 letters, 5.5 years, my father was finally released from prison because my mom did not give up. After he got out, her barrel was finally full of rice, full of the hopes and dreams, because she had promised herself that no child of hers would ever go hungry. Fellow Toastmasters, I went hungry several years ago, physically, but my mom helped me replenish myself mentally. When you know somebody who's suffering with the mental shackles of depression, when you know somebody suffering from physical exertions of cancer, starvation, or war, reach out to them, because change starts with one act, even if it's as small as a single grain of rice. And today, I'm a dreamer, I'm a believer, and I am an eater. Mr. Contest Master.